My name is Time Fox. I was sent from the future to come back and stop the rise of the overlords. In the future, everything is washed over by our cats, and all people worship them all day long, spending all day just worrying about their cats. There, now it should work just fine. Hello? Hey, Tall Fox!
Boss?
So I noticed you haven't been at work the last couple of days. I wanted to call in to make sure you're okay and make sure you weren't held captive in some foreign country. Because if it's the latter, I gotta tell you that your kidnapper's insurance ran out last month.
Boss, where the hell have you guys been? I've been trapped in some cat-pocalypse hellscape for the last 3 years, fighting for my life day and night. Did anyone notice I was gone?
Nope.
Of course.
Look, Tall Fox, it sounds like a really bad situation, but your contract is clear. You make me a video every month, and I lace your morning coffee with the antidote to that poison we slipped you when you signed up.
Wait, you never poisoned me.
Oh yeah, you're right. That must have been Silent Fox then. I think I've been switching your coffees in the morning by accident.
Alright, look, whatever. Look, if you're contacting me this way, then I'm assuming that you have a way to get me home, right?
Yeah, don't worry, got good news. See, you got that Time Fox fellow you hired working on it right now. Although, there have been a few snags. This is an amazing time you live in. Well, in the meantime, maybe you can help me do a little video review for me.
Well, I was working on a review for Blinx 2. You should check around my desk, see if you can find the footage.
I'll look for it in a minute, but what's the deal with this game? I thought the first game didn't do that well. Why'd they make a second?
The first Blinx game got a mediocre reception. Reviewers felt the game was average to bad, where players felt the game was decent to downright infuriating. Overall, the game didn't do so well, and ultimately Microsoft's plan to make Blinx their animal mascot for the Xbox fell through. But for some weird reason, the game got a direct sequel on the Xbox a few years later. If I had to guess the reason why, I think it's because Blinx actually had a decent reception in the Japanese market, at least in terms of sales and compared to other Xbox games. The Xbox in general doesn't do well in Japan, so maybe Microsoft was just trying to use Blinx as a sort of foot in the door approach for bringing more games over there.
I'd actually played Blinx 2 long before I'd ever played Blinx 1, so it was kind of an interesting experience for me to revisit this game after playing its estranged father. So, this is Blinx 2 Masters of Time and Space.
Why'd you say it like that?
Sorry, it's just kind of a thing to do, you know?
Blinx 2 Masters of Time and Space is a 2004 video game made for the Xbox and developed by Artoon, the same company that made the first Blinx. Just like its predecessor, Blinx 2 was an Xbox exclusive. The game takes place sometime after the first game. The story begins following the Tom Tom game, a group of anthropomorphic pig time / space bandits during one of their treasure hunts.
Boss, let's get out of here.
I got a bad feeling. I didn't make this again to be a bunch of scaredy cats.
Hey, you guys are actually using words now. I see all those late nights of Rosetta Stone really paid off. Anyway, the Tom Toms end up finding an enormous time crystal, and their leader, Benito, jumps up and touches it, causing it to shatter and forcing the Tom Toms to flee. Wait, his name is Benito? Like, Benito Mussolini? Oh, I get it. It's because they're pigs. Get it? Pigs, like fascist pigs. Comedy. After watching that little scene unfold, you're immediately taken to the Time Factory where you create your very own Time Sweeper. The Despite that this game is called Blinx 2, you don't play as the tabby cat from the first game. Instead, you create your own character and you're given your own time sweeper team. And not only that, but you spend half the game playing as the Tom Tom gang, and yes, you also create your own pig character to play as while doing that. When I think about it now, I kind of think it's an odd design choice. There was never a Mario game where you created your own Mario OC, or hell, even a licensed Sonic game that did this, though I'm sure a significant portion of the internet would have wanted that. To go from playing as the titular character of a game series to suddenly making your own persona in the second game was kind of a weird direction for the game series to take. Then again, this was the early 2000s, combining RPG elements into other game variants was becoming exceedingly popular, so that might be the inspiration here. When making my Time Sweeper character, I decided to name him after my pet cat from when I was younger, Rocky. For my Tom Tom, I decided I should also name him after something that's close to my heart, but also still pig related, so I named him Bacon. After running through the tutorial on the Time Sweeper side, we get yet another cutscene. The Time Factory is besieged by an army of glowing green Tom-Toms, and the damage causes the factory's supercomputer to shut down. Blinx jumps into the fray alongside his fellow sweepers to fight back, and holy hell! When did Blinx get moves like that? In the last game I could barely make him run and jump in a straight line, but now he's turned into a freaking gymnast fighting in the Matrix. Blinx gets called out to investigate the source of these Tom-Tom attacks, but the rest of the sweepers decide they can't let him do it alone, so they all barrel into the time portal as well, and so begins a journey once again to save all of time and space. As far as gameplay goes for the Time Sweepers, Blinx 2 shares the basic mechanics that its predecessor had, except for one teensy little difference. It doesn't suck. Seriously, I'm gonna get into my gripes about this game later, but for now, let me just say that Artoon did what every developer should do when developing a sequel. They took everything that was wrong and frustrating with Blinx and fixed it. Combat still revolves around sweeping up trash and shooting at enemies, but now your character sweeps up trash lightning quick and can keep moving while you're doing it. Instead of having to guess whether or not you'll actually be shooting at the target, you now have a manual lock-on, which makes it super easy. Hell, if you want, you can even go into first-person mode to manually aim where you're firing. The idiotic crystal combo system is also gone. Now instead of having to go painstakingly tiptoe around crystals to make sure you get the combination you want, you can just suck them all up and they'll automatically give you the powers and you get 3 of each. You no longer have to worry about screwing up your chance to get a retry or a pause. Instead, you can just grab all the crystals you want without consequence or worry. Not only that, but the controls have been tuned up well to be tighter, and your character no longer does that infuriating little backflip thing that serves no purpose other than to screw up your jumps and get you killed. Seriously, do you have any idea how many holes actually made Blinx throw himself down in the first game because of that thing? Enemies and stages spawn near time puzzles, you can get more time crystals if you run out, the time limit on stages is gone, you have an actual health bar now, stages have multiple ways to complete them. Every single thing that I absolutely hate about Blinx 1 was fixed in this game. So really, what could possibly be wrong with the game at this point, right? Well, unfortunately, there are still a few problems. See, while they fixed a lot of problems the first game had, they also added a new one. A big one. This asshole right here. You know how the internet collectively hates Navi from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time because she nags you about obvious information you already know and she won't leave you be? Or maybe even a more recent example in Skyward Sword with Fi, who always rambles off some random statistic about how you need to push a button? Picture that, but with literally every single puzzle in the game. Every single one. This is the operator. He's basically your mission control and is meant to guide you through the level. The problem is that the guy will not shut up. He will randomly chime in about literally every little new thing you see and explain to you exactly what it is, whether it be a puzzle, an enemy, or hell, even about climbing a ladder. The operator will be there to tell you what to do. And when he does this, you are forced to stop and listen, completely breaking any kind of flow the game might have had. Imagine if you were playing Emerald Hill Zone in Sonic 2 and every time you saw something, everything just stopped and Tails chimed in to tell you what it was. Sonic, that's a robot. Jump on him to destroy it. Sonic, those are spikes. They'll hurt you if you touch them. Sonic!
I'm an immortal being of hell and you totally used me to cheese the chemical plant boss.
What about those Tom Tom guys? Don't you say you play as them too?
Oh, don't worry, I have not forgotten. Typically, when you finish a stage of the Time Sweepers, you switch over to the TomTom story and vice versa. While the Time Sweepers are on their violent quest to save all of time and space, the TomToms are trying to achieve basically another noble goal: getting their boss laid. And you know what? I don't know what it is about these games and bestiality, quite frankly. Not sure I want to. Ever since he touched the big crystal from the beginning of the game, Benito's been having dreams involving a beautiful girl named Mina, who also happens to be a Super Saiyan. Benito is told by Mina that they have to find the big crystal fragments and put the thing back together. So that's what you gotta do. You play the TomTom going on a mission to try to steal, among other things, big crystal fragments to give to your boss so he can fulfill Mina's wish. The TomTom's gameplay turned the game into a stealth platformer. Each level revolves around sneaking into some place past Time Sweeper guards and traps in order to find some sort of treasure, bag it up, and then haul it back home without getting killed. Metal Gear Swine, if you will. Overall, playing as the game as TomToms is a very different experience than the Time Sweepers. Instead of using vacuum cleaners, they use actual guns with bullets. Though stealth is still encouraged because your enemies greatly outnumber you and they keep coming. Instead of having actual time powers, they use what are called space devices. Get it? Because the game is called Masters of Time and Space? I don't hate the TomTom's gameplay, and I actually welcome the chance to experience a game in a new way. Sure, the guard's line of sight is the size of a barn, when it doesn't seem to be, and sure, there's often little incentive to ever using any other weapons other than the standard equipment you get early on, but it was something different. But you know what both the Time Sweepers and the TomTom share? You guessed it! Mission control. They're just here to ruin everything, aren't they? The operators on the TomTom side are even worse than the Time Sweepers, if you can believe it. Whereas the Time Sweeper operators call in every single puzzle, the TomToms call you in every single room. Sometimes they just call you to say random stuff that doesn't pertain to the mission. Like one time they just called me and said, "Hurry up." Hurry up? F you! You hurry up! Give me some space, man! I guess it would make sense given the spy/heist feel that the TomTom levels are supposed to invoke. It's the idea that you're working with a full team who's helping you infiltrate a place for a huge score. It's not just a one-pig job. But while that kind of thing makes sense on paper, it works very poorly in the execution. Having to stop constantly to talk to your operators is extremely tedious, and even worse, it eliminates any kind of creativity or challenge that the player might want to experience for themselves. The game always tells you exactly what to do and how to do it at all times. And so that sets the flow of the game. You play a stage as a sweeper, fight a boss, and then switch over to the TomToms who play a stage, steal something, and then fight their own boss. Sweepers typically fight some sort of giant monster that you usually find in these sorts of games, while the TomToms have a cage match with against a team of sweepers. Occasionally they mix it up and the TomToms fight a boss and a tank, or so the sweepers just fight some TomToms, but this is also the only time your actual team helps you out. In terms of gameplay, this is the only time your team participates. But even then, I never felt an incentive to upgrade my team's equipment or increase their stats, things that you can actually do if you so choose. I think the main incentive behind doing this was supposed to make it feel like the game had more customization options, which I never really shy away from, but the only time your team participates in combat is during certain boss fights against the enemy faction. You can use them in multiplayer matches, but the game didn't support Xbox Live, so unless you had that one friend who really loved Blinx 2, you probably never used it. Back to the story. After you beat all the worlds, Mina gives a final warning to Benito. She says that if time is abused, then her mother, the goddess of time, will send down her scissors upon the universe. And lo and behold, we've been abusing it apparently. So down come the scissors.
I don't think that's how you're supposed to do symbolism. Okay, that's a little bit better.
All while this is happening, the Time Sweepers recover an ancient tablet that tells them what they need to know.
They say when the gift of time is not truly appreciated, the scissors of the goddess will descend on A000.
Seriously? Is that really what this ancient tablet that you found in some dusty old ruin said? It gave you coordinates to an alien planet in plain speak? Was this written by the crew of the Enterprise? You know, I never thought I'd say this, but there was one other thing in Blinx 1 that got better than Blinx 2, and that was the story, or lack thereof. Blinx 1 had a pretty simple premise. There's monsters, there's a princess, go save a world. It was easy to understand, and you pretty much only had to talk about it once. I'm not saying the Blinx 2 plot is complicated or anything, but does it really need all this crap thrown in? Does there need to be this Persona 3-esque plot about a goddess coming down to destroy the world? Does it need to be a cross-species romance between a Super Saiyan girl and a pig king? No! Doesn't need any of that. All it needs is an adventure. Well, whatever, let's wrap this sucker up. The Time Factory realizes they can only send one team of Time Sweepers, so they decide to send your team. And the Tom Toms also realize they can't send more than one team of pigs, so they send your Tom Tom team as well. The two meet up on the final world and work together to bring down the Scissor Demon in what is hands down the easiest boss fight in the game. Here's how you beat it. Point at it, lock on, shoot. That's it. I'm not saying I ever want to fight the travesty that was Blinx 1's final boss ever again, but Jiminy Christmas, Artoon, it's like you weren't even trying at this point. The world's saved, the goddess decides not to destroy the universe for some reason or another, and the credits roll. Blinx 2 took a lot of steps in the direction a sequel should. It improved all aspects of its gameplay, fixed the things that were bad about its predecessor, and overall ended up being a fun game to play at a lot of points. Unfortunately, in what was probably an attempt to avoid the frustration people had with the first game, they took it a step too far in making it too easy. They tacked on a helper character that just won't let you enjoy the game or discover things for yourself. Any sense of capacity to learn while playing this game is shot, and the Tom Tom stages are so tedious because of this that I didn't want to replay any of them after completing them. As for the story, well, I harp on it a lot and I do think it's still pretty silly and dumb, but I also can't really say that it doesn't fit the tone that the game seems to be going for. It's not trying to be edgy or too serious most of the time, save for the very end, but instead it's something of a more cartoonish adventure. I mean, it's a game about talking cats and pigs, for crying out loud. They can't take themselves that seriously.
Blinx 2 tried to fix all the problems that Blinx 1 had, and for the most part they succeeded, but unfortunately they created a whole bunch of new problems that just brought the whole game down. You know, if Artoon had made one more game, I think they really could have gotten it right, but it's never gonna happen.
Alright, good review. Thanks, Tall Fox. We should be able to have you home here any minute.
Thank God. Boss, you have no idea what it's like here. Time Fox is right. The cats are gonna get us someday.
Yeah, sounds pretty terrible. It must smell like cat piss all the time. You're not gonna smell like cat piss when you come home, are you?
It's not that bad right here, right now, actually. Actually, it's not that bad at all. Why is that? Oh boy.
Good, you're back safe. Make sure you stop by HR to fill out your paperwork for missing the last couple days. We're probably gonna have to take this out of your vacation pay.
Alright, chums up.
Ready, guys?
Let's do this. Leroy Dragons!
Oh my god, he just ran in. Save him! Oh jeez, stick to the plane! Oh Jesus, let's go.